Hello and welcome to Getter Farms. We're back with another episode of Lincoln, Nebraska, and today we've got a fair amount of spraying to do. However, before we jump into the sprayer, we need to get our spray trailer set up here and get the sprayer cradle so that we can haul our sprayer setup out to the appropriate fields. The fields that we have ready for spraying today are fields 50 and 68. And then at some point, we're going to have to hit fields 32 and 24 as well. However, I'm not sure they're quite ready to be sprayed yet. We'll have to check on that if we get the other two fields sprayed today. So we're going to go ahead and try and back this thing right up here into the sprayer cradle and get everything all ready to go. And now that we've got this all hooked up, we're going to pull it right out here into the yard and get it set up so that we can try and load up this sprayer. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to work with the duals on the sprayer. I haven't really thought about that. In fact, it might be a little bit of a problem here. I'm also noticing that this thing sits pretty high on this trailer, so getting up on these ramps may be a little bit of a concern. So let's see if we can line this thing up. We do have the ability to move our tires a bit here and line them up in the rows. And so I'm thinking that's going to help us out here a little bit as we try to get onto this trailer. We're going to widen these tires out here and see if we can actually get up on here. Oh my goodness, it's just a bit too high with this trailer. The other trailer that we had wasn't quite so tall here, so let's try and back this thing on. I think that might work out a little bit better for us. Alright, so I have removed the duals from the sprayer here so that we can get it up on the trailer and move this around. I think this is going to work out a little bit better for us here and give us the flexibility to bring this to where we need to be on our spray trailer here. So let's get this thing moving. I think we're gonna have enough herbicide, but I'm not sure. We're gonna start with field 50, which is a little bit closer to the farm here, and see how our situation looks after we finish that field up, depending on if we think we're gonna need more herbicide or not before we head down to our big field in the southeast corner of the map. We will swing by and pick some more up, or just head on down there. Realistically, we probably could have just run the sprayer up to this field from the farm. It's definitely going to hold enough to finish spraying this entire field with what's in the tank. But I don't know. It's just a little bit of fun to get this thing out and move it about with the semi. So we're going to park this right here across the driveways and go ahead and get our sprayer out and move in here in this field. I think what we'll do is take the headland passes off first. We'll take one timer around the field, and then we'll be able to do the up and down segments. I always underestimate the width of our boom here, so we're going to need to hop over a few rows here to take advantage of our full spraying width. So this field is a fairly narrow field, nice long rows, so I'm imagining we're gonna knock the spraying out here pretty quick and be able to jump over into our larger cornfield. I'm really looking forward to jumping into harvest here soon. We're gonna get a fair amount of yield, it seems like, on some of these fields, and I'm looking forward to getting back into a large-scale corn harvest, especially once we get down here to field 68. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how many bushels we're pulling in off of the fields. And if we just take a look at the GPS indicator over here on the right-hand side of the screen, it looks like we're at +6 rows off of the initial track that we laid out on the other end of the screen. So that's gonna cue us in that we've got 4 passes here in the middle, so 2 rounds that we'll have to make from a spraying perspective, which is not too bad. It's gonna go pretty quick here. I am gonna take off the headland on this end of the field though, just so that we can avoid all of these pesky telephone poles. Taking off the headlands like this really helps out from a spray perspective. Now, I guess sometimes with spray, we always sprayed the headlands last when we were doing this in real life, just so that you didn't end up picking up a lot of chemical residue and stuff on the machine. But I don't know that it really matters too much here, so we're just gonna keep going here with the sprayer. And just from a farm sim mechanics perspective, doing headlands first almost always tends to work out better for me. One of the things I haven't done a whole lot of yet thus far is in-cab driving in this sprayer. I know we kind of hopped in and tried it out in the other episode, or the previous episode, but what I can't get around is the fact that I can't see the end of my booms when I'm in cab. That makes spraying here pretty hard. But we do have some real numbers on the display here. We are going 15.5 miles an hour, and we've got 3,800 liters of spray left in the container, which is cool. As we come up here around the part that we already covered with our headlands, it looks like we've got sprayer section control working appropriately, which is always encouraging. We don't have much left of this field at this point. We've got just I think one more pass here. We've got a little tiny sliver of spray we'll have to do here. Oh, maybe not even. Looks like we're overlapping perfectly on the right-hand side here. And so we've got just a little bit up on the other end of this field that we've got to cover up real quick, and we'll be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and head right back up here. And if I turn on my HUD, you can see we didn't use that much spray. We were at 75% spray coming into this field, and so we didn't even use 25% of the spray that we had here. So we'll top this off when we get back up by the truck there, and be in a good spot, I think, to head on out to our other field. I don't think we're going to stop and get any more herbicide. I think we're going to go with what we've got and see how far that gets us in field 68. We take a quick look here. Field 50 is 13 hectares. Field 68 is 35. So it's almost 3 times as big. Not quite though. So if we use 25% on this field, then we'll use about 75% of a tank on the next field. Should be good to go. Should be good to go. We'll be close. Well, that's going to wrap up this field, so let's start getting this thing folded up. We're going to run this right back up to the semi here and get all of our chemicals topped off while we're already set up here and ready to go. Oh yeah, we're going to be good. So we'll just get this thing all loaded up on our trailer here. Put our ramps up in the air here and get heading down to field 68. If I remember correctly, the easiest way to get down there is going to be to hang a right on this road P and take it all the way down to the bottom of the map, road 17. And here is our lovely cornfield, looking good. All the corn is coming up. Alright, we are up here by our cornfield. We're going to set this up here in such a way that we can unload our sprayer here in the little bit of a yard that we've got here, I guess you'd call it. I'm really thinking we're going to end up buying this corn bin at some point when we get into harvest, because that's just too conveniently located for me. It'd be nice to be able to put some corn right in the bin here next to the field, even if we're only using it as a temporary storage location before we truck it back to the farm. I think it might be easier to have our field side unload go into this bin and then have our trucks come and grab it out of the bin here and bring it back up to the farm. I don't know. We're going to have to figure out how that's going to work out come harvest, but it's a cool option. So for this field, since it's a little bit bigger, we are going to grab a course real quick here, I think. Field 68, and our starting point is going to be right here. We'll try to get away with one headland pass. Generate. There we go. It looks really straightforward, so let's see how this is going to work. Drive course. Every once in a while, it's good to have a nice big square field where you can leverage mod like courseplay without any shenanigans. And we're doing a pretty good job spraying here. I think this is going to work out for us pretty well here. So I'm going to let this worker go at it here for a little bit and see how long it's going to take to knock out this field. It looks like about 25 minutes of spraying here to do. So we're going to let courseplay do its thing, and we'll check back in on it here in a little bit. Alright, so while the sprayer's running out there in field 68, we're going to come back up to the farm here and actually I think start getting one of our combines ready for harvest here. We've got a small wheat field that is going to be ready in the next couple of days, and so I think that's really going to be our next big job on the farm here. And so it's probably time to start pulling a few pieces of this equipment out and seeing if we can get everything all set up. So we're gonna grab this, get the corn header off of here, get the cutter put back on, and see if we can get the semis and everything else all set up and ready to go here. Now I do want to put this stuff in a reasonable spot, but I think what we're gonna do, let me think here, we're gonna drop this draper off right there, and we're gonna swing back into the shed here, I think, and try to put this corn header right up on the wall in the corner there is what I'd like to do. We might have to try and back this combine up just a smidge to leave us the room to do that, though. Something like that should work out pretty well. These combines can actually turn pretty tight with the way the rear steering works, so I should be able to pivot it right here into the corner. Oh, I've got plenty of room. We're going to try our hardest to get it up close to the wall here. Might help if I lower it a bit here to see where we're at. Don't need it sticking through a barn wall. And there we go. And our meters are actually in a reasonable position on this combine, so we're able to back up here without any problems. Just like so. Alright, let's get this header hooked up to the combine now. And we'll get this all ready to go for beans. Or, I'm sorry. We'll get this all ready to go for our wheat field here. We will be transporting it in road mode down there. That's a nice thing with these headers, is that we don't have to have a separate header trailer. So I'm liking this setup on these combines a lot. But we're going to ring it right on over here and see how this is all set up and going to work for us. We also are going to need somewhere to put the wheat once we harvest it. Now, I have the semis in these big trailers, but we're really going to be using these for the larger capacity grains. I think for this small field of wheat, we're not going to need a whole lot of capacity here. And so we're going to fire up this old grain truck that we've got in the shed here and get this thing running. This is the Ford 9000 by 5.9s, and I believe this grain box comes off of the in-game mod hub, so I really like this mod. I think I've used it probably on a series in the past, but I like this layout. It works out really well, and I think this is going to be a good truck for us to use to run up into the field here and bring back our wheat. So we're going to get this thing pulled into the shop here, make sure everything's good to go for the season on both of these pieces of equipment here, while we have a little bit of downtime here before we get into harvesting the wheat here in the summer. So we're coming up on the final pass here of this field, and yeah, it looks like for the most part we're fitting the width perfectly here. We've got two little sections on the end here shut off, which is awesome. I'm loving that section control seems to work with courseplay at this point as well. And it looks like we've got a small texture issue here on this shed. It's a little flickery. So with that, we managed to make pretty good progress here on our spraying. All of our corn spraying is done now. It looks like we've still got 37% left in the tank for herbicide, which is doing pretty good. So I think what we're going to do is run this sprayer right back on down here and get it loaded up on the truck. I'm looking at the map here real quick. It looks like field 32 and 24 are still in the planted state. And so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to spray those or not at this point. The way seasons works and the different ground textures, I guess we didn't put down any liquid fertilizer when we were planting, so theoretically it should be in a state where it could accept herbicide. We might have to head over there and try it out real quick just to see what happens. I think this big sprayer is going to make real short work of those smaller fields, so I don't expect it to take very long, that's for sure. But man, this sprayer got dirty pretty quick out in these bigger fields here. We were spraying for a while, and we've got a fair amount of dirt and dust caked up on the sprayer here. So we've got this thing all loaded up. Let's get it moving, and I think what we'll do, because we are down here at field 68, is take this road up the far side here and go check out field 24 and see how far we can get on our spraying in that field with what herbicide we've got left in the tank. I honestly wasn't sure if we were going to be able to do that without putting the trailer into the fence or the ditch or the telephone pole, but we pulled it off. So I'm thinking for staging on this field, we're actually going to pull right up in front of the transformers here and use this little section to park our semi. Hopefully the utility company isn't going to come by anytime soon, but it's just too handy of an area not to leverage it. And we're going to get this thing unloaded here, and I'm hoping we can take like this pass here should be one pass. I don't think we're going to need to do too many rounds here. Maybe not. Maybe now that we've been driving this thing for a while, rather than underestimating our boom size, I'm starting to overestimate it. But it looks pretty close to me. I have to say the sprayer is almost too big for Farm Sim. I can't even get the whole thing on my screen. So it's slightly bigger than a single pass, but we're gonna just pretend that it's a single pass. I'd rather have one foot that has a chance to get weeds in it than try to monkey around with getting that sprayed. So we're gonna take a headland pass off this way and then circle around by the creek here, I think. Oh, did we not get those weeds when we went over them? It didn't look like I killed those weeds with the herbicide. That's gonna make me sad here. We're gonna keep going for just a second here. I mean, I'm definitely putting spray down. I'm seeing the ground texture change here, which is good. So now I'm just keeping my eye open for another patch of weeds where hopefully as we pass over it, we're gonna see those weeds die off. We've got one coming up here, and I'm hoping I was just a little bit off from where we needed to be on that last bit, because if this doesn't kill off the weeds, I'm going to get really sad. There we go. It didn't kill off the weeds. What is going on? Also, why does it look like grass behind me everywhere where I'm spraying? That's also somewhat concerning. It really shouldn't look like that. What is going on, folks? I don't know. This is apparently not working correctly, though. Something's up. So we're going to wait and see if this continues to be a problem once this field grows up a stage. I am going to just keep going all the way down here on the headland just in case the preemptive is working here and we won't get more weeds. I'll know that I've got one headland pass here done and I can just do the up and down rows and just accept the two small spots of weeds that had already popped up. But honestly, I just really don't know what's going on right now. It's really strange that I can see that the spray seems to be working. I'm really concerned that it's showing up like it's grass now after I spray it. So we're gonna bring this thing back down the road here by our semi and I think park it until we move time forward to the next growth stage on this field. I'm really not sure what's going on here. So with that, we're gonna wrap up today's episode. We've got a little bit of spraying left to do that will probably run in the background while we dive into our wheat harvest next episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, drop a like. It helps the channel out immensely. That's all for today. Kedrick out. Can't wait to get out here. We're gonna probably end up purchasing this bin before we get too far. Oh no! Took that corner a little fast.